Hello, brothers, and welcome to Sigma Old Man Channel. The quiet ones aren't harmless, they're just waiting for the right moment to stop pretending. There's a reason the Sigma male walks like a shadow and speaks like a whisper, not because he's weak, but because he's dangerous in silence. You think he's just calm, cool, maybe even mysterious, cute, until one day something clicks, and you realize you weren't dealing with a quiet guy, you were dealing with a sleeping storm. Here's the terrifying truth. Studies in behavioral psychology have shown that the most unpredictable individuals, the ones society can't quite pin down, often possess the highest potential for controlled chaos when provoked. Translation? When a Sigma male decides to unleash his dark side, it's not loud, it's not messy, it's surgical. He doesn't explode, he evolves into something cold, calculating, and almost inhuman. And what makes it even scarier, he'll smile while doing it like he's just rearranging furniture in his mind. So buckle up, because what's coming isn't your regular alpha aggression or beta boy meltdown. What's coming is 20 brutally honest, spine-chilling shifts that happen when a Sigma male reveals the side he rarely, if ever, lets anyone see. This isn't drama. This is quiet destruction. And trust me, by the time you realize what's happening, it's already too late. Number 1, he becomes intellectually unforgiving. When a Sigma male flips into his dark side, one of the scariest things that happens is he becomes intellectually unforgiving. Normally, he's the guy who gives people space to express themselves, even if what they're saying is completely off the mark. But when he's pushed too far, his patience for nonsense drops to zero. He doesn't argue, he doesn't shout, he dismantles. And he does it with a kind of cold focus that's unnerving to watch. He'll let you talk. And then, without raising his voice or showing emotion, he'll break down your entire point, step by step, with precision that feels more like a courtroom cross-examination than a conversation. The worst part? He won't even be cruel. He'll be calm, logical, and disarmingly factual, and that's what makes it so brutal. He doesn't come for your feelings. He comes for your reasoning, and when he's done, all that's left is the awkward silence where you're just standing there trying to figure out when exactly you lost the argument and how it all unraveled so fast. This isn't about ego for him. It's not a power move. It's just the natural shift that happens when his tolerance for stupidity or manipulation runs out. He's no longer giving you the benefit of the doubt. He's no longer pretending your opinion is valid when it's based on emotion instead of logic. He's done pretending to play nice. And when that mask comes off, you start to see just how sharp his mind really is, not because he flaunts it, but because he uses it like a scalpel. What makes it even scarier is he doesn't just point out where you're wrong. He exposes how you got there. He shows you how your own biases, assumptions, and inconsistencies built a mental house of cards that just collapsed under its own weight. And the worst part, he's usually right. People don't expect that kind of precision from someone who's usually quiet and observant. But that's what makes it hit harder. He's not showing off. He's showing you the door. Once the Sigma male reaches that level of mental detachment, he doesn't care if you like him. He just wants the truth laid bare. And if your ego gets slaughtered in the process, so be it. Number 2, he uses honesty like a guillotine. When a Sigma male switches into his darker state, he doesn't raise hell, he just tells the truth. But not the filtered, polite kind. No soft landings, no, I didn't mean it like that. He says exactly what needs to be said, exactly how it is, and without blinking. His honesty isn't just raw, it's surgical. It slices through ego, delusion, and denial like a guillotine. One sentence and the whole room goes quiet. Not because he shouted, but because what he said was so uncomfortably accurate, nobody knows how to respond. He's not trying to be cruel. He's not out to destroy you. He's just done holding back. You poke the bear long enough, you eventually meet the man behind the silence. And what you get is the kind of truth that people spend years trying to avoid. The kind that hits you at your core, not because it's loud, but because it's true. He'll say what everyone's been thinking, but too scared to admit. And once it's out, there's no putting it back in the box. What makes it even scarier is his delivery. There's no emotion in it, no smugness, just brutal clarity. He tells you what's wrong, how you got there, and why no one's been honest with you until now, all in one breath. And the worst part? He doesn't flinch while doing it. He's not asking for a reaction. He's handing you a reality check you didn't ask for but desperately needed. This kind of honesty leaves a mark. People walk away from it stunned, defensive, or silent. Not because they're angry, but because deep down they know he's right. That sting in their chest, that's not offense, that's realization. And once you've been on the receiving end of it, you never forget it. The Sigma male doesn't use truth as a weapon unless you give him a reason, but once you do, prepare yourself. You won't get emotional drama or petty insults. You'll get facts, sharp, cold, and stripped of all fluff. It's not meant to break you. But if your identity is built on delusion, it probably will. Number 3, he can destroy your reputation without lying. When a Sigma male decides to unleash his dark side, he doesn't resort to petty gossip or wild exaggerations to take someone down. Drama, that's for amateurs. Instead, he plays a far more devastating game, the truth game. He'll quietly gather every uncomfortable fact, every inconvenient detail that people whispered about but never dared to say out loud. Then when the moment's right, he drops those truths in a way that feels like a cold, surgical strike. What makes this terrifying is that he doesn't have to twist anything. No lies, no embellishments, no fake stories. Just the raw, unfiltered reality that everyone else tiptoed around. Because facts don't need convincing. When he calmly presents those truths, backed with undeniable proof, it's like watching a house of cards fall. Slowly, publicly, and with an eerie calm that makes you realize this isn't a vendetta. It's a reckoning. He knows the power of silence and timing. He lets rumors fester, lets people believe he's not interested, then hits with a precision so exact that there's no comeback. The damage is done without ever seeming aggressive. You're not facing an enemy yelling from the rooftops. You're facing a strategist who dismantles your carefully constructed image with nothing but facts. And the sting of that is far worse because it's impossible to call it slander or lies. It's just you exposed. This kind of reputation destruction isn't about public humiliation for the sake of it. It's about revealing the cracks others ignored or covered up. It's about forcing the truth to surface, whether you like it or not. And since it's all based on reality, you can't defend yourself with denials or threats, only by facing the fallout. So when a Sigma male goes dark and starts playing this truth game, it's not personal drama, it's cold, calculated justice. And because it's built on facts, it cuts deeper and lasts longer than any lie ever could. That's why people fear this side of him, because when he's done, your reputation isn't just bruised, it's irreversibly changed. Number 4, he turns stoicism into a weapon. When a Sigma male descends into his darker state, stoicism stops being a personal philosophy and turns into a psychological weapon. He doesn't just appear calm. He becomes a void of emotion so complete it unnerves people on a primal level. You yell, cry, throw chaos at him, and he stands there like a statue carved out of nerve endings he no longer needs. No reaction, no flinch, just silence that feels louder than any scream. It's not that he doesn't feel things. It's that he's mastered the art of never letting anyone see it. And in a world where people try to win through emotional leverage, this kind of unreadable stillness is pure intimidation. You can't guilt him, bait him, or manipulate him into cracking. He just watches, like he's letting you exhaust every move while he conserves energy for the only one that matters. That's what breaks people. Not the shouting matches they expected, not the arguments they rehearsed, but the brutal realization that they can't reach him. He doesn't give you emotional fuel to work with, no anger to push against, no weakness to exploit, just that heavy, silent control that makes you question whether you're the one spiraling, not him. And when everyone else is losing it, he becomes the anchor, the one who doesn't panic when things fall apart, the one who quietly takes mental notes, makes the hard decisions, and walks out of the wreckage like he planned for it all along. While others react, he calculates. While others melt down, he takes control. That kind of calm during chaos isn't comforting, it's terrifying because it reveals just how unfazed he is by things that destroy other people. It's psychological dominance without raising a voice. It's the kind of presence that makes others feel exposed, dramatic, and powerless. Because when your emotional tactics hit a wall of stone, you start realizing how much of your behavior relies on other people feeling something back. He doesn't, at least not in this state. And when that kind of unshakable calm stares back at you during your worst moments, it doesn't feel peaceful. It feels like you're the only one still bleeding while he's already moved on to cleanup. That's how he weaponizes stoicism. Not with violence, not with noise, but with the kind of silence that makes everyone else unravel. Number 5, he'll watch you burn with a calm expression. When you cross a Sigma male, especially in his dark mode, you won't get the satisfaction of a dramatic meltdown. There's no shouting, no threats, no begging for explanations. He simply goes silent, withdraws, cuts the invisible strings he was using to keep your world steady. And then he does something that rattles people more than any emotional outburst ever could. He watches, calmly, coldly, without blinking. He doesn't interfere. He doesn't try to fix the mess. He doesn't even say, "I told you so," because he doesn't need to. He knows exactly what's coming, and more importantly, he knows you don't. That's the psychological power he holds. He saw your downfall before you even betrayed him. The only reason you didn't feel it sooner is because he was subtly keeping you afloat. Once he pulls that quiet support away, your bad choices start collapsing in on themselves like a dying star. And he lets them. This isn't spite, it's discipline. He won't dirty his hands to take revenge. He's above emotional chess games and too focused to waste energy proving a point out loud. His silence is the point. His absence is the consequence. His calm detachment is the punishment. And it stings far worse than confrontation ever could. What most people don't realize until it's too late is how much balance he was providing. He noticed your self-sabotaging patterns, your manipulation, your impulsiveness, and he countered them. Quietly, efficiently, like a silent firewall running in the background. But once you betray him, he steps back and lets you run wild with your own chaos. And when it starts to catch fire, he won't throw water. He won't even blink. He'll watch you burn with the expression of someone monitoring a failed experiment. Not angry, not gleeful, just done. And that kind of detachment hits deeper than revenge ever could, because you'll come to realize he didn't need to hurt you. He just needed to stop saving you. That's the final, cruel truth of his dark side. He knows neutrality is its own kind of execution, and he wields it with precision. Number 6, he mirrors you until you break. When a Sigma male taps into his dark side, he doesn't yell, argue, or waste time trying to correct you. No, he simply becomes your mirror. Whatever energy, attitude, or manipulation you bring, he reflects it right back with eerie precision. You act passive-aggressive, so does he. But better, you start playing games, he plays along, except he plays to win, and suddenly you're not so sure who's controlling the situation anymore. It's not revenge. It's not drama. It's calculated emotional symmetry. And it's brutal, because when he mirrors you, he's not doing it out of spite. He's doing it to make a point without saying a word. The more you push your dysfunction into the space between you, the more clearly you see it bouncing back. He doesn't even need to explain it. His actions become a psychological spotlight, and now you're standing in the glare of your own behavior. This kind of mirroring is scary because it creeps up on people. At first you think he's agreeing with you, going along with your vibe, but then it starts to feel off, like you're arguing with a version of yourself, but one that's calmer, smarter, and always 2 steps ahead. Eventually, it becomes unbearable. You start spiraling, trying to understand why everything feels so heavy and unbalanced. And then it hits you. He's not being cruel. He's just showing you who you are when no one's pretending anymore. That's the terrifying beauty of it. Sigma males don't need to punish you. They just become a live demonstration of your own toxicity. And the more you try to fight it, the more exhausted you get. Because you're not fighting him, you're fighting yourself. He doesn't raise his voice. He doesn't justify. He just reflects. And that silent reflection becomes your undoing. By the time you break, he hasn't even moved. He hasn't changed. He simply held the mirror long enough for your reflection to shatter you. It's not revenge. It's karma, delivered quietly, intelligently, and with unnerving precision. Number 7, he starts speaking in brutal precision. When a Sigma male steps into his darker side, his words lose all softness. There's no more cushioning, no diplomatic phrasing, no effort to protect anyone's feelings. What comes out of his mouth is pure, concentrated truth, with edges sharp enough to slice through anyone's ego. He doesn't yell. He doesn't need to. He just stops playing the social game of sugarcoating and starts speaking with brutal, surgical clarity that makes people freeze mid-sentence. There's no small talk anymore. No pretending to care about surface-level nonsense. If he speaks, it's direct and deliberate. And every sentence hits like a sledgehammer to the gut. Not because it's loud or angry, but because it's accurate. It's so dead on that it leaves no room for excuses, denial, or deflection. You either confront the truth or choke on it. And the worst part? He's calm the entire time, not cold, just done pretending. This kind of communication is rare, and that's exactly why it terrifies people. We're used to others softening the blow, talking in circles, giving us emotional room to escape. But when he speaks in this mode, he gives you none of that. His words strip away your illusions in seconds. There's no wiggle room, no, maybe he meant it differently. He meant exactly what he said, exactly how he said it. And you'll feel it, deep, because suddenly you realize he's been watching, processing, remembering, and now that he's decided to speak, he's unloading the full weight of what he knows, without fluff, without apology, and with a level of intelligence that makes it impossible to ignore. You won't even know how to respond. You'll be too busy replaying his words in your head, realizing how long he's been silent, how much he's figured out, and how accurate he's always been. It's not just what he says, it's the precision with which he says it. Like he's cut through all the noise, reached into the center of the problem and pulled it out for everyone to see, whether they're ready or not. In that moment, you're not dealing with a conversation anymore. You're dealing with a truth reckoning. And trust. No one walks away from that untouched. Number 8, his presence turns intimidating without a word. When a Sigma male goes dark, he doesn't need to raise his voice, throw punches, or make dramatic speeches. His presence alone becomes unnerving. The room goes quiet, the energy shifts, and suddenly people start choosing their words a lot more carefully. It's not fear in the traditional sense. It's a deep instinctive awareness that something's not right. His silence isn't passive anymore. It's heavy. His stillness doesn't feel calm. It feels loaded, like he's holding back something powerful, something surgical, and no one wants to be the one to trigger it. There's no yelling, no threats, no visible anger, just a chilling intensity that radiates from him like static. You feel it before he even speaks, and if he does speak, it's brief, precise, and laced with meaning that hangs in the air long after the words are gone. He's not doing anything, but somehow everyone feels like they're being watched, weighed, and measured. Even the loudest people suddenly feel the need to shut up, like the air itself just tightened. What's really unsettling is that he's not trying to dominate the space, he just does. His presence becomes a mirror, reflecting everyone's anxiety, guilt, or insecurities back at them. People start second-guessing themselves, fidgeting, stumbling over their own sentences, not because he's doing anything, but because they can feel that he sees through them. That eerie calmness is a warning shot. It's the emotional version of a countdown clock, and everyone subconsciously knows that if it hits 0, it's over. This shift is so subtle yet so powerful that even people who've known him for years get caught off guard. One minute he's quiet and chill. The next he's giving off the kind of presence that makes grown adults rethink their choices. It's not about physical threat. It's about the psychological gravity he suddenly commands. You don't know whether he's about to walk away or burn everything down. And that uncertainty is exactly what makes it so terrifying. He doesn't need to move a muscle. The message is already clear. Something inside him has changed, and from this point forward, you're no longer dealing with a man, you're dealing with a force. Number 9, he dissects people like data. When a Sigma male steps into his dark side, his emotional switch flips off, and his analytical brain goes into overdrive. He stops seeing people as individuals with feelings and starts breaking them down like equations. To him, in that mode, you're not a friend, a partner, or a threat. You're just a series of habits, patterns, tells, and contradictions waiting to be mapped out. He's no longer emotionally engaged. He's running mental diagnostics on everything you say and do, and he's terrifyingly accurate. You try to manipulate him. He logs the strategy. You fake an emotion. He catalogs the timing, the micro-expression, and the motive. He's not reacting, he's observing, like a scientist studying behavior under a microscope. And what's unsettling is how calm and clinical it feels. He's not trying to hurt you, he's not even judging, he's just studying, breaking you down into data points and variables, calculating what drives you, what scares you, and what lies you've told yourself so many times you now believe them. At that point, you're no longer dealing with a man. You're dealing with something more like a human algorithm. Every word you say becomes part of a formula. Every contradiction you expose becomes a breadcrumb he follows. And when he's done, he doesn't just understand you. He understands how to control you, outmaneuver you, or completely disengage from you without a trace of emotional debt. You won't even see it coming. What freaks people out is that there's no malice in it. No emotion, no insult, no vengeance. Just cold analysis, and it works. He knows what you're about to say before you say it. He predicts your behavior before you're even aware of it. And when he walks away, it's not out of anger. It's because he already solved the puzzle and got bored. That's what makes this version of the Sigma male so dangerous. He's not lashing out, he's leveling up, mentally removing himself from emotional noise and playing 5D chess, while everyone else is still arguing over checkers. If you push him into this mode, don't expect closure. Expect to be decoded and discarded like irrelevant data. Number 10. He'll outlast you in psychological warfare. When a Sigma male flips into his darker mindset, trying to manipulate him is like bringing a rubber knife to a sniper battle. He's not just familiar with psychological games. He's the one who studied the playbook, rewrote it, and set it on fire out of boredom. While others are out here playing tug-of-war with emotions, he's sitting quietly, watching every move, collecting every detail, and mentally rearranging the chessboard in real time. You might think you're winning because he's quiet, because he's not reacting. But that's exactly what makes him dangerous. He doesn't react. He calculates. He lets you think you're pulling strings, all while you're dancing exactly where he wants you. You send a passive-aggressive text. He clocks the insecurity. You try to guilt-trip him. He isolates the motive. You ghost him. He already predicted that move yesterday and adjusted his expectations accordingly. There's no rattling him because his detachment isn't cold, it's strategic. What makes this so scary is that he's got patience most people can't fathom. You'll burn out emotionally long before he does. He'll let you spiral, argue with yourself, and play all your tricks, while he sits back, mentally sipping tea and collecting receipts. Then when the time is right, he'll make one move. Just one. And that move will quietly dismantle everything you built against him. People who try to outwit him in psychological games almost always lose. Not because he fights harder, but because he doesn't play for attention. He plays for checkmate. There's no ego in it, no emotional investment. He doesn't need to win loudly. He just needs to make sure you never try that move again. And by the time you realize how deep the game really was, you're already exhausted, confused, and emotionally disarmed. He doesn't do this often, but when he does, it's not warfare. It's a masterclass in mental endurance. You'll be fighting with feelings. He'll be executing precision. You'll think it's about emotions. He'll treat it like strategy, and by the end of it, you won't even be mad. Just stunned, wondering how you got outplayed so quietly, so completely, and so ruthlessly. Number 11, he'll drown you in logic. When a Sigma male taps into his dark side, emotional arguments don't stand a chance. Forget shouting matches or heated debates fueled by feelings. He's not playing that game. Instead, he methodically dismantles every point you make with cold, unshakable logic. There's no yelling, no personal attacks, just a relentless surgical exposure of every flaw, every contradiction, every escape hatch you hope to hide behind. It feels like being strangled by truth because it leaves you gasping for air in a sea of facts you can't contest. You try to bring passion, you try to appeal to emotions, but he's already stepped beyond all that. He's standing on solid ground, built from reason so tight, so airtight. It's impossible to find a foothold for your feelings. Your emotions, they become irrelevant. Your arguments, reduced to crumbled rubble under the weight of his unyielding logic. The scariest part is how calm and composed he remains. He's not trying to humiliate you or win a popularity contest. He's simply cutting through the noise with precision, leaving you nowhere to run or hide. And when you realize that your emotional defenses are useless against his razor-sharp reasoning, it's a gut punch. He doesn't just debate, you get dissected. Every inconsistency you hoped would slide by unnoticed suddenly stands exposed in harsh daylight. And because it's logic, not anger or spite, there's no arguing with it. It's the kind of confrontation that leaves you questioning everything you thought you knew, not just about the argument, but about yourself. That's the dark power of his mind. He weaponizes logic so effectively, it doesn't just win the battle, it obliterates the battlefield. And when you're caught in that quiet storm of reason, it's not just your argument that's defeated. It's your confidence, your emotional footing, and sometimes even your will to keep fighting. Number 12, he stops being human, and that's the problem. When a Sigma male taps into his darkest state, the very essence of his humanity seems to slip away. It's not that he loses who he is, he simply shuts down the parts that connect on an emotional level. Suddenly you're not dealing with a person anymore. You're facing an almost alien presence, cold, calculated, and utterly devoid of the warmth or empathy you once took for granted. Conversations with him turn into exchanges with an emotionless machine. There's no spark of kindness, no flicker of understanding, just stark surgical precision in every word and decision. It's as if the guy you knew has been replaced by a version of himself that's all logic, all calculation, and zero softness. That kind of emotional vacuum creates a distance so deep, it doesn't just feel like space between two people, it feels like a chasm between worlds. What makes this transformation so unsettling isn't just the lack of feeling, it's how unnatural it is to interact with someone who's essentially cut off their own humanity. Humans are wired to respond to empathy, to emotional cues, to the subtle rhythms that say, I get you. But when he switches into this detached mode, none of that exists. You're left guessing, second-guessing, and often feeling like you're trapped in a cold, clinical experiment rather than a relationship. The problem isn't just that it's uncomfortable, it's that it triggers something primal in us, a deep, almost instinctual alarm that warns, this is wrong, because people don't thrive in emotional isolation. We need connection, even flawed and messy connection. When he steps into this state, that essential connection breaks, leaving you with a hollow echo of what used to be. And the worst part, you know this isn't permanent. You understand that beneath the stone exterior, the human is still there. But while he's in this zone, the gap between him and you widens to a terrifying extent. That gap creates confusion, fear, and sometimes resentment because it feels like you're trying to reach someone who's deliberately unreachable. In short, when a Sigma male stops being human, at least in how he relates, it's not just unsettling. It's a warning sign that you're dealing with something far more intense than ordinary frustration. It's a glimpse into a dark, silent place where empathy is locked away, and all that remains is cold, calculated survival. When a Sigma male's dark side emerges, it's not some dramatic meltdown or chaotic explosion. It's a quiet, cold, and razor-sharp transformation that changes everything around him, and everyone who thought they knew him. This isn't about losing control, it's about wielding control with an unyielding grip that cuts through illusions, emotional games, and superficial bonds. His dark mode reveals the unfiltered core of his mind and soul, one that operates on brutal honesty, ruthless logic, and an emotional distance so profound it unsettles even those closest to him. What makes this side of him truly terrifying isn't just his power to dismantle egos, outlast psychological battles, or expose every mask with surgical precision. It's the way he does it with a chilling calm, like a storm that approaches silently but leaves nothing untouched. He doesn't lash out with anger or desperation. He withdraws into a fortress of stoicism and precision, becoming an almost inhuman force of nature that watches, analyzes, and decides with terrifying clarity. And the consequences? They're not fleeting. When he mirrors your darkness, uses honesty like a guillotine, or wipes attachments away with the flick of a switch, the impact is permanent. His truth cuts deeper than any lie, his logic suffocates emotional chaos, and his detachment turns once meaningful relationships into empty echoes. Crossing him means stepping into a world where softness is a liability and vulnerability is a risk you can no longer afford. But here's the brutal truth. This dark side is not a flaw. It's a survival mechanism honed by years of mastering himself in a world that rarely rewards authenticity or weakness. It's the price he pays to maintain his independence, his peace, and his sense of identity. And while it may scare those around him, it's this very darkness that makes the Sigma male a force unlike any other, enigmatic, unbreakable, and utterly unforgettable. So if you ever find yourself face to face with a Sigma male's dark side, don't expect fireworks or melodrama. Expect a quiet storm, precise, relentless, and profoundly unsettling, because when he reveals this side, it's not just a glimpse into his soul. It's a powerful reminder that some men don't just survive the darkness. They become it. If you found this deep dive into the Sigma male's dark side as eye-opening as I hoped, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss content that cuts straight to the truth. Drop a like if this resonated with you, and share your thoughts or experiences in the comments. I want to hear what you think. And hey, if you know someone who needs to understand this side of a Sigma male, go ahead and share this video with them. Your support means everything, and it helps keep this channel alive and thriving. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.